Hi, I'm Hugh McKenna from Asgard Athletics. This week we're going to be going over a variation of the Kimura I like to call the Ghost Kimura. It's where you finish on the same side as you have the Kimura grip. So normally when we do a Kimura, we come across the body, like their body is here, their head is here, and I'm attacking this arm, but I have like half guard or side mount or something like that on this side, and I'm attacking the far arm. So usually I finish across the body. This is a Kimura where we run around the other side and we finish with our hip on the same shoulder as the Kimura that we're attacking. So it's a same side Kimura. You disappear around the other side, so I like to call it the Ghost Kimura. I actually finished someone in the IBJJF the other day with this. It's a powerful version of the Kimura that is really helpful if you're doing like a roll through Kimura and during the scramble to get up, you're not able to come cross body, which is how I finished it. Because I was getting up and I wasn't able to get across his body, so I just bailed to the same side. It's also good if you're in like side mount or something and you're going to step over their head to finish the Kimura and they're blocking your hip from stepping overhead. So you just lift your hips up a little bit and then ghost your way over to the other side and finish on the same side. And it's a powerful break. So let's get into it. I'm gonna do a move from the T Kimura today, actually the one that I finished the guy in the tournament with. So however you get to the T Kimura doesn't really matter, and you can do this from the top as well as from the T Kimura. You don't have to start in the T Kimura, you can just do this from a regular Kimura from like side mount. Okay, so just a couple things about the T Kimura. When I'm here, my hand is through here, I'm grabbing his wrist, and then you can grab your own wrist, but what I like to do, the battle in the T Kimura is for this elbow to get to the floor. If Greg can get this elbow to the floor, he can come up and he can start facing me, right? So I need to leverage his elbow off the floor. So how I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna use my wrist as a fulcrum and I'm gonna use my forearm as a lever and I'm gonna lift his elbow off the ground. Now Greg, try and get up. Right, it's just not gonna happen. So I'm shoving his wrist into his body and I'm leveraging his elbow off the floor and our bodies make a T, and that's why this is called the T Kimura. Now, to finish, you can do like a myriad of different things, but the finish that we're gonna go over today, I like to call it the Ghost Kimura. Come on this side. So you're gonna hip escape out a little bit, and then from here, you're gonna re-grab the Kimura grip, all right, when you come up. Now, I'm gonna pull this to my chest, and I'm gonna shove my elbow down to the floor as I scissor my legs down, and I get here. So my hip is like right behind his head, on the same side of the Kimura. Normally when we finish a Kimura, we finish it across the body like this, but today we're gonna finish it on the same side so that my hip is blocking his head from his shoulder. And a lot of the times, the defense to a Kimura, the initial defense is gonna be to get your head towards your arm to take some of the pressure off and go get your arm. My body being here is gonna be a wedge so that he can't do that. And I like to call it the Ghost Kimura because you just like disappear. Right, so normally, like when we're here, we're like right in their face and we're finishing the Kimura, but when we do the Ghost Kimura, we come around the side here and we disappear. Now to finish this, I'm gonna leverage my elbow up like this, and I'm gonna shove his hand down behind his back. I'm gonna keep his arm at 90 degrees, and I'm gonna lift this way. I'm gonna drive my hip into him and move my hips away, like towards his head, away from his arm, and I'm gonna bring his arm down like this. So I'm straightening this arm down like I'm arm wrestling, and I'm shoving his wrist down towards my feet at the same time. It's very tight. So I'm here in the T Kimura. I'm battling for this elbow control. When I decide to come up, I'm gonna hip escape a little bit to give myself some room to scissor my legs. As I scissor my legs, I'm gonna re-grab the Kimura grip. I'm gonna pull it tight to my chest. I'm gonna shove my own elbow down to the floor in between his body right here. My rib cage is already touching his head and ear. I start driving into his head. I get up on my legs. My leg that's closest to him is laces down. My knee's on the floor. My other leg is stepped up. I'm gonna leverage my elbow up and shove his hand behind him. All right, do not let his elbow escape here. This is how he's gonna get out. So I need my elbow pinched in like this. So when I'm doing the Kimura, I pinch my elbow in so that my elbow is above his the entire time, right here. And I want this elbow right here to stop him from being able to grab his own hands, right? It's gonna be very difficult for him to grab his hands because my body is in the way of his head and my elbow is in the way of his ribs. He can't turn and get me. So I'm here, I'm in the T Kimura, I'm straightening my arm, battling for this elbow control on the floor. Then when I'm ready, I hip escape, I grab the Kimura, I pull it tight to me, I scissor my legs at the same time, I turn to the floor, and I get up. This leg is down, this leg is up and driving into him and towards his head, and then I leverage my arm up and finish the Kimura. All right. Okay, so now we're gonna do this from the top. So we're gonna get chest to chest here, right? We're gonna grab the Kimura. So one of my favorite ways to grab the Kimura is if I'm here and he doesn't have a frame, I'm gonna come over his head and scoop like right here in his armpit, nice and tight, keep my chest pressure on him, then I'm gonna lean back and I'm gonna start pummeling my hand inside. A lot of times I palm my own face and drive it to the floor. Then I'm gonna start bringing my hand out like this, and I use my head to help hold it to the ground. I make sure that my elbow is tight to the floor and not up this way so he can't re-grab his own wrist. So I'm here, I'm in side mount, I have nice good control. He doesn't have a good frame in, so I'm gonna come around his head, put my thumb like right in his armpit, hold it nice and tight. Then I'm gonna pummel my hand through here. I'm gonna grab my own forehead, I'm gonna drive my forehead down to the floor. Then I use my head to trap his arm, and I slide my hand to his wrist. I make sure that the spread of my two fingers are on his wrist right here. I don't wanna grab too shallow, and I don't wanna grab too low where his hand is floppy, right on his wrist here. Now, I'm gonna bring my elbow to the floor. I'm gonna shove my elbow to my wrist to my own wrist. Make sure that my elbow is not coming over his elbow and it's not super close to his armpit either, right? So I'm gonna slide a little more towards his elbow. Then from here, to get the ghost Kimura, normally we finish the Kimura, we sit through, we step over his head and we finish here. That's a valid finish, but a lot of times guys are like pushing your hips away and they're driving. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give him a little less pressure than he thought that he was gonna have. So he's gonna think he's gonna be able to like sit up this way and start bringing his hand in. So as he's doing that, I'm gonna run around his head to here so that my hip is in the same exact position it was before. It's right in his like ear / trap area. I'm driving into his head, keeping my elbow above his elbow, and then I'm driving and finishing my Kimura here. So I just disappear around the corner. So I'm here, I grab whatever Kimura I have from the top, right? I keep his arm relatively at 90 degrees, my elbow's on the floor. I start going to finish sitting in, he starts pushing me away and he's trying to like sit up. So I give him a little less pressure. I'm not driving into him anymore. I'm kind of like piking my butt up in the air. And I'm gonna run around this way and then I'm gonna drop my hip right on top of him. This leg is still driving, I'm driving into his head and I'm straightening my arms here. So I'm straightening this arm this way, like an arm wrestle, and I'm shoving his wrist down at the same time, right here. So that's the ghost Kimura, or the same side Kimura. It's a powerful braking mechanic. It also prevents them from sitting up or clasping their hands together. And it's a variation that's not widely used, so your opponent will be a little surprised by it. Give it a shot. Let me know in the comments how it worked out for you and if you were able to hit it in the competition or a live roll or something like that. And if you like this video, please subscribe to my channel, hit the like button on the video, and leave a comment if you can. Any engagement helps. Thanks.